side. People that are struggling in this cost of living crisis can make sure they see tomorrow and they've got their kids looked after. And they're doing it in this town, I have to say, reaching out to different community groups in all the different spaces, trying to help people in their own way. And that gives me faith. It gives me faith in ordinary working people in the working class in this country. Because even though times are tough, what I see in Luton, in Manchester, in Glasgow, in London, in Cardiff, and all the places that I go to, is ordinary working class people in their groups and in their communities, striving to help each other. And we've got to be careful, because when times get tough, what always happens is the people at the top will try to play the division card. When times get tough, they'll try to say to people, the reason your wages are low and you can't get a good job is because of those people down the road that don't look like you. They'll try and tell us the reason you can't get housing, your rent's too high, it's not because rip-off landlords and a system set up to sell off our social housing. It's because of people down the road who don't look like you and don't sound like you. They all want to tell people in this country the reason why you can't look after your kids and the reason why old people are freezing this winter. It's not because we live in a country where all of the country's wealth is going to the top and none of it to the people that generate the wealth, the working class. They'll try and tell you it's because of some scapegoat. And we have got to be the voice of unity. We have got to be the voice that says, no, we're united, you're not going to divide us, we're working class people, it doesn't matter what the colour of our skin is, what faith we've got, or whether we've got none, you're not going to divide us this time, we're going to stand together. And we're not going to have it. We're going to stand up for that. You know in this town how divisive it can be when people try to play that game, turning one community against another, trying to create a scapegoat out of one community, when the real enemy is sitting here at the top, laughing all the way to the bank. Now let's put this in perspective. All of my life, living standards of ordinary working class people have been going backwards. Wages have been falling. Rent has been going through the roof. Council housing was sold off. Our education system has become commodified. If you want to get educated, you've got to be in debt. Our NHS is being privatised. Our pensions are being plundered. Our public services, wherever we turn, are being used as a cash cow for money in multinational corporations who've got no loyalty to people in this country, who've got no input into the public services that we rely on. Half of them don't even pay tax. They're stripping this country of wealth. They're taking that money out of our public services and they're sending it away to tax havens for the super rich. And we've got a political class who have connived and colluded in that robbery of ordinary people in this country. Politicians in this country, I don't care what colour they are, blue, yellow, red, whatever, they have all colluded in that plunder of our public services. They have all colluded in a mass transfer of wealth away from ordinary people to the super rich. Right now we've got the sharpest fall in living standards out of any of the G7 countries. You see the rise in homeless people on our streets. You see the rise of people in desperate need. People in work going to food banks, claiming benefits. We've got more food banks now than we've got McDonald's in this country. And what's the government's answer? Cut taxes for the rich. Look after the bankers who smashed our economy up and nearly brought the world economy to a stand in 2008. Look after them. Look after the private corporations who are sucking wealth out of our services and give the workers a kick-in if they dare to stand up. Well, let me tell you this, members of my trade union in the RMT who worked through this pandemic and watched the millions and millions and millions being taken out of our industry, a lot of it your money, taxpayers funding that, they watched those millions leave and go to tax havens. We didn't strike during the health emergency, and I'll tell you why we didn't, because we wanted to make sure the nurses got to where they had to be. We wanted to make sure the care workers got to look after our old people. That's the only reason we need to go into strike action in this health emergency. But now we've come out the other side of it. What do we see? A government that wants to give us a kick in. They wanted to isolate the RMT because they thought they could rely on old arguments. It's the greedy RMT, the union barons they call us, holding the country to ransom, holding you to ransom. And your inconvenience when we stop the trains and it's a scandal, and they thought they would pick that fight, they would bring in anti-trade union legislation to crush us, and then everyone else would go quietly. Well, not this time, I'm telling you, not this time. And when I say we, I mean all of us in the working class movement. We did not let them isolate the RMT. We did not let them divide us by pitting railway workers against nurses and nurses against teachers and everyone else against immigrants. We didn't let them do that this time. We bit the bullet, we took a strike action, and we helped our brothers and sisters in other trade unions to come forward and get their strikes going. And now on October the 1st, we've got national strike action on the railway, on London Overground, on buses, alongside the postal workers, alongside the ASLEF and the TSSA in the night, because together we can achieve far more than we can on our own. We're not finished with that. That's only the beginning. We could not let them isolate us in the RMT, but now what we've got to do is not let them isolate the trade union movement. That's what they want to do. They want to isolate the trade union movement, and that is why this campaign is so important. Because what we've got to do is bring the trade unions together, with the faith groups, with the community groups, with people who are in workplaces who've got no trade union, who've got no community group to work in, ordinary people who want to stand up and make their voices heard. You can do that in this campaign. And we want to bring people together so they can't isolate the trade unions. Because united, we're far stronger than we are divided, and that's the message we've got to bring to people. And that's why on October the 1st, we're taking this national strike action, and we're calling for everybody to get involved in a wave of national protest, supporting those strikes, holding rallies in 13 cities, demonstrations, marches from picket lines, one to the other. We're bringing railway workers together with postings. We're bringing ordinary people together with the trade unions. Faith groups together with the ordinary people in their community groups, because together we can create the pressure we need to drive the politicians into doing the right thing. And it's my view, it's about time they did a day's work for the people that elected them, instead of the corporate sponsors. We can either have a situation in this country where we can build homes for people. We can have an education system to look after our young teachers. We can have an health service to look after people when they're sick. And we can have pensions so people can retire with dignity in their old age. We can have houses that are fit for people. We can do that. Or we can have investment opportunities for multinational corporations and for speculators, but we can't have both. And that's the simple fact. What it comes down to is this: who owns what? Either we're going to own our railways and our public health system and our energy, or the corporations are going to own it and they're going to have profits at the expense of our high bills and low wages. Or we can own those things and we can run them in the interest of the people in this country, and we can have higher wages and lower prices at the expenses of profits. And it's that simple. If you want wages to go up and you want prices to come down, then profits have got to come down. Because if you've got high prices but wages aren't going up, the only thing that's happening is there's a bigger share of the wealth created in this country leaving in the form of profits. And that is what is happening right now. It is a straightforward transfer of wealth. It is theft being colluded in by our political class. And we have got to stop that. We've got to make these politicians realise you can't be representatives of both the people who are being robbed and the robbers. You have to pick a side. year after year after year, the market says this is what wages have got to be. The market says this is how prices have got to be. You've got to spend 3, 4, 5 months of your take-home pay on your energy bills and another 3 or 4 on rent, because that's what the market says. You can't have a pay rise, and you can't have a decent standard of living, because that's what the market says. Well, let me tell you this, the market ain't a Wizard of Oz. We have got to pull the curtain back, because as I've said before, the market has got names. They've got job titles, they're CEOs, they're working in the financial sector, they're bankers. This is the market. These are the people that own the corporations, that own our public services, and are profiting out of your poverty. And it's about time we change that. We've got people that go on the news and talk about this stuff like it's a great mystery, like it's some kind of magic, if you like. The market says this, so we've got to do it. Well, that's not how it works. What do the people say? Are we going to have that? No. It's about time we reverse that and say we're going to have economic policy in this country based on what the people need and want, not what the market says. The markets right now, they can't even keep the old people warm in winter. The markets can't feed our children. The markets can't educate our kids. And the markets aren't going to get us out of this cost of living crisis. The only thing that's going to do that is you and me. And in time to come, when you look back at this moment, I want you to be able to say, I stood up. I didn't take it, not like before. When it was called on, I stood with railway workers and nurses and teachers and posties and ordinary people and people on benefits. We stood together and we told them enough is enough. There's a real change coming in this country. I can feel it. Can you feel it? Yeah! They're not going to take the piss out of us anymore. We are going to get organised. And let me tell you this, being angry is not enough. We have got to get organised. There's people out there, we don't have to explain to them what is wrong. They know it's wrong when they can't afford their bills. People know it's wrong if you're working 40, 50, 60 hours. You can't feed your kids, you've got to go to a food bank. You don't need a degree to understand it, that's wrong. People know it's wrong. What we've got to do is get people to act on that. People have got to act on what they know is wrong, and we've got to give them the means to do it. And that is what this campaign is about, and that's why we're supporting it. So on October the 1st, I want everyone to get out on the streets, because that's the next step. We have got to get people out of apathy and into action. We've got to get people out of despair and into hope. We've got to get people taking forms of peaceful civil disobedience alongside strike action. We've got to create the biggest wave of solidarity in this country, on the streets and the picket lines, to force these politicians, no matter what badge they wear, to stand by ordinary people in this country instead of the super rich, and I believe we can do that. And thank you for coming out tonight.
Something like that. I think Eddie's message, one of working class unity, is so important, and there's nothing the establishment fears more than working class unity. There's quite a lot of disillusionment in our communities with the way things are going, and some people say, well, what does a rally achieve? What's the Enough campaign going to do? What difference will it make? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to unite our communities, and the fact that so many people turned up today to listen to some of our speakers, united around a shared cause, our 5 demands that we're going to continue campaigning for on both a local and national level. And we've got our stall in the back. Please sign up, get involved. We are going to be supporting our posties, we're going to be supporting our teachers, we're going to be supporting our food banks. And just to close off this rally, I want to invite Glenn Jenkins onto the stage, one of our
Yes! I'm blessed to have just been asked to do this off the top of the head, so you have to know that, because they just asked me to close. But I just wanted to say one thing. First of all, a massive thanks to the team who have put this together in just a couple of weeks. Brenda back there said to me, Brenda's been involved for a while in politics, and she said to me, this is the biggest political meeting she's seen in Luton since the miners' strike. So I think we need to make that and last but not least, because I know you're all looking to get home and watch an Al Jazeera programme about the Labour Party. Last but not least, I think it's worth saying this, that Eddie and Zara and everybody else who spoke just made the point. The reason I'm here, because I don't, I'm like you, I've seen it all before, we've heard it all before. The difference here, is that this is about organised action by and for the people ourselves. Not by politicians, not by rituals, not by us, and with that in mind, this is a rally where we pull people together, but this is just the beginning. It's what we do from here. And each of you, thank you so much, who signed up for this. We've got your email. Right? Yeah. And there's going to be some actions, not only on October the 1st, but for sure on October the 1st, but into the next year, because you know, like I know, the storm has not started yet. They're coming for us on all fronts. Poor people are going to be under assault on all fronts. And it's up to only we the people united, can never be defeated if there's enough of us. Yes. So can I just say, one love everybody, let's do it.
If someone's lost some money near the doorway, the stewards have it on the side. So yeah, don't lie, but thank you, bye.